In order to understand zombies, one must understand the modern identity. The identity that the zombies terrorize. If you want to know why you need to understand this, go have a look at this video called The Meaning of Monsters. The modern self was hugely influenced by this, and then this. But then we got cocky and we became this. But that might have been a mistake, so now we wonder if, after all that, we have become this. That's the overview. Now let's get into some details. The modern self is a product of a long history. In order to understand the modern self, we must understand its foundational assumptions, for even in their negation, they are still part of our identity. Modern society has two great sources, the Greek and the Judeo-Christian. Let's start with the Greek. In the 6th century BC, the Greeks were something new. Like other peoples of the ancient world, they had a pantheon of gods, but they also accepted reason as a way to understand themselves, the world, and the nature of reality. It's not that other civilizations were irrational, but in Greek culture, reason was considerably more independent of religion than in other cultures. By the 3rd century BC, Greek philosophy broke up into a number of schools. One of the most important and influential is the Stoic school. When the Greeks observed the world around them, they saw a highly ordered system. The Stoics reasoned that the order found in the natural world was the essence of all that is. This order was the most important, the most real. It was truth and beauty, and they called it the cosmos. For the Greeks, the cosmos was more than our idea of a universe. The cosmos was comparable to a living being, in that all its ordered parts functioned as a harmonious whole, the way that our body does. The beautiful order and harmony of the cosmos in its entirety was the divine. The Greek term for the divine reason within the cosmos is logos, from which we derive the word logic or logical. Human beings possess reason, so we can begin to understand this rational, ordered world. We don't create meaning in order, we discover what is already there. Importantly, this order is external, an objective thing. It exists outside the human subject. This view of the cosmos has implications as to how one lives in the world. The purpose of the human being is to find his or her rightful place in the cosmic order and orient his or her life to that order. The life of wisdom is in accord with the harmony of the cosmos. This fundamental human purpose does not change with the coming of Christianity. One must still strive to live within and in line with an external, objective reality, but with Christianity, the understanding of that reality has changed. The Stoics saw the logos as the impersonal, divine structure of the cosmos as a whole. In Christianity, the logos is a person. The Gospel of John begins with these words: "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made." John wrote these words in Greek, and the Greek word that is translated word in this passage was logos in the original. In using this term logos, John was claiming that Jesus Christ was the divine principle by which the cosmos was created and ordered. So in the Christian conception of reality, the logos is no longer the impersonal, ordered harmony of the cosmos, but was incarnated in a remarkable individual human named Jesus. This is obviously a radical shift, but still human purpose remains that one must conform oneself to an external, objective reality. This emphasis on the personal and individual was just one shift ushered in by Christianity. In Christianity, human beings came to be seen as equal. The Greeks generally saw reality as hierarchically structured, and human beings are also seen in terms of hierarchy. Humans are not equal. Some are stronger, some are faster, some are smarter. Christian thought ran contrary to this hierarchical structure. In Christianity, it was not the natural gifts that mattered, it was how they were used that mattered. You might have a great deal of intelligence, or very little, but what mattered was how you used whatever intelligence you happened to have, for good or for evil. In Christianity, human beings came to be seen as equal, for we all have the same capacity to choose how we will act. A third related shift in Christianity is the idea of universal human value. All humans are equal in that they all have intrinsic value, and this value is the same for everybody. Genesis 1:27 says, "So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them." This was a new idea in the ancient world. The biblical idea that human beings, both male and female, were created in God's image meant that all humanity had value. Christianity then held to new ideas about reality. The Logos became personal, the universe was moral, the human was individual and free and equal in that every human being was inherently valuable. Then we come to what I'll call the human era. Western civilization gradually changed its views about transcendence and the existence of objective reality. We eventually more or less rejected both. Ironically, this shift was in part caused by a biblical understanding of a rationally ordered creation. This idea meant that it was knowable. Human beings could understand the universe using their God-given reason. The science at the time of Bacon and Descartes was predicated on this idea. So the revolution in science inspired the intellectual movement which dominated the world of ideas in Europe during the 18th century, the Enlightenment. The light in Enlightenment was reason. But the Enlightenment took the veneration of reason to new levels where eventually it would supplant God as the ultimate authority. God was still there in the minds of many, but not in the capacity of a providential God. If people believed in God at all, he was far away. This was the God of the deists. The universe is like a great clock. God made it, wound it, and went away. The watchmaker God served for a time, but eventually we began to doubt the presence of the watchmaker, and we began to doubt the presence of the watch. We began to think of the world not as an ordered, divinely ordained, harmonious whole, but as a purposeless, chaotic mess of impersonal objects and forces. If the universe is to make any sense at all, human beings themselves are going to have to bring order and meaning out of the chaos. The human being, then, for those cultures that went through the Enlightenment into modernity, must be understood as a material being in a chaotic world of matter. Reason replaced God, but even before the calamitous 20th century, it was clear to some that reason was an inadequate candidate to fill the vacant throne of heaven. Friedrich Nietzsche represents one way to solve the problem of finding something to fill the throne of heaven. He basically tells us that there is no throne. There is no such thing as the transcendent. There is nothing up there. When he wrote God is Dead, Nietzsche was not just going after Christianity. He proclaimed the death of all absolutes. Bertrand Russell does a really nice job of describing things after Nietzsche. He says this, that man is the product of causes which had no provision of the end they were achieving, that his origin, his growth, his hopes and fears, his loves and his beliefs are but the outcome of accidental collocations of atoms, that no fire, no heroism, no intensity of thought and feeling can preserve an individual life beyond the grave, that all the labors of the ages, all the devotion, all the inspiration, all the noonday brightness of human genius are destined to extinction in the vast death of the solar system, and that the whole temple of man's achievement must inevitably be buried beneath the debris of a universe in ruins. Cheery stuff. So, this is the state of things, philosophically, at the beginning of the 20th century. Regular folks didn't despair because they didn't follow Nietzsche's logic. They sort of got rid of God, but continued to act as if he was still there, upholding things like reason, meaning, value, morality, human rights, etc. Nietzsche could see that these things generally require something to be up there, something transcendent, and that it was inconsistent to live as if God or something was still there. Nietzsche could see this, and so, in a sense, can zombies. That's why they are here, to try to get us to face the implications of our foundational beliefs. Living as if reason, meaning, value, morality, human rights, etc. are possible while holding on to a philosophy that makes them impossible is a huge inconsistency, or it might be, and it is inconsistencies like this that will attract monsters. It's no mistake that the zombies experienced their first flash of popularity in the early years of the 20th century. But I'm getting ahead of myself. If we can't look to God or reason or nature or any other absolute to find meaning, where do we look? We now believe meaning resides within the individual. But I'm getting ahead of myself. And that's the subject of my next video on the modern self. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.